Hello everybody, my name is Jeff Jenness and I'm the GIS analyst with the Springs Stewardship Institute as a part of the Museum in Northern Arizona in Flagstaff, Arizona. Now, we've spent the last few years working closely with the Nevada Department of Wildlife, the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, and the Fish and Wildlife Service, and several other NGOs and federal and state agencies to develop a conservation plan for Springsnails in Nevada and Utah. Southwestern United States is home to at least 178 Springsnail species, and over 100 of them live in Nevada and Utah. The declining health of these tiny aquatic springs-dependent gastropods and their habitats has led the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, state wildlife agencies, and other NGOs to invoke protection of some species of spring snails under the Endangered Species Act and state statutes. In 2018, the Springs Stewardship Institute initiated development of the Springsnail Conservation Strategy for the states of Nevada and Utah to better manage and protect 98 Springsnail species and their ecosystems. Since then, we've compiled existing research, published literature, and additional data sets from many independent researchers. We've incorporated them into our Springs online database. We've also conducted numerous Springs surveys ourselves, and with all this, we've built a comprehensive data set of population distribution, habitat conditions, conservation status, and survey history for each species. According to Springs Online, over 90 researchers have contributed to this robust data set so far. Now, in this poster, we show some of the spatial distributions of spring snails, classified according to NatureServe conservation classes. Spring snail species in Nevada and Utah are classified as either extirpated, critically imperiled, vulnerable, or secure. A few species have never been classified. Now, the great majority of species are either extirpated or critically imperiled. This includes 76% of Pergolopsis species and 63% of all other spring snail genera. Now here we show the spatial distribution of springs containing these different conservation classes of species. We're summarizing data within a hexagonal array over the landscape, so we're mapping spring snail characteristics within each hexagon. Now we have 3 regions where the spring snail species appear to have gone extinct. Now, critically imperiled means that there's 5 or fewer locations or less than 1,000 individuals, and most of the regions with critically imperiled species occur here in Nevada. Now, imperiled means 6 to 20 locations, or 1 to 3,000 individuals, and these species are distributed fairly evenly between Nevada and Utah. The classification vulnerable means 21 to 100 locations, or 3 to 10,000 individuals, and for some reason these species are very heavily weighted toward western Nevada. Not really sure how to explain this. Now, classification secure means what it sounds like: common, widespread, abundant, lacking major threats or concerns. Now, only a small fraction of spring snail species meet this classification, and they're found mostly in eastern Nevada and western Utah. Then there's few species that haven't been classified into NatureServe conservation classes yet. Spring snails are the living definitions of spring endemic species. Most of them only live at springs and would vanish if the spring vanished. Many of them are restricted to a very small number of locations. Now, this map shows hexagons containing species that exist at only 1 or 2 springs. These are cases of the most at-risk species. If 1 or 2 springs dry up, which is very possible in a warming climate, increasing human demands on aquifers, then the species will go extinct. And we continue to work on this project, along with our many partners, to develop a conservation strategy to protect these species. And as we protect these species, we also protect the springs, and consequently the amazingly diverse biotic community that depends on them. And thank you so much for taking a look at our poster.